bringing Tyrese Maxey off the bench as a sixth man. I was surprised. Oh, we actually got to this point. Maybe the star dust has kind of faded on Tyrese Maxey, because it felt like last year that was you can't even fathom asking that question, but it was actually asked to Doc Rivers. I think ESPN also threw a little bit of fire on the flame with it this past weekend during Christmas Day. Jalen Rose and Stephen A. Smith said that Tyrese Maxey is the Sixers' second best player and said you can't bring him off the bench. He's their second best player. Their words, not mine. I asked you, Danny, how do you evaluate the decision that is in front of Doc Rivers? I think it's no question they're a better defensive team without starting those two. But you're not maximizing the offense potentially if you don't start those two. You're not a head coach, but for right now, you are Doc Rivers. What are you doing, bro?
Oh, man. Yeah, I was about to say that. There's a reason why they pay that guy the big bucks, and the reason why my suggestions go in the suggestion box and usually get torn up and thrown out. And they don't listen to him because, if you ask me, I'm more defensive-minded type of guy. And before we even got James, before Ben and all that what happened, and when Ben was sitting out and playing or not playing, I thought it was like, all right, this is a better balance. It's too late now, I think, to put Tyrese off the bench. He's just shown too much. He's too good. But before he was starting, I thought that was the time to do it. And it was, I think we still had Seth at the time. It was either, bring him or Seth, to put him and Seth together in the starting lineup. I think it hurt us defensively. In my mind, I was like, let's have me and Matisse on the wings. And you have Tobias to score, Joel to score, and either Tyrese at the point or Seth at the point. And you bring one of them off the bench. But obviously, I didn't bring that to Doc, but I just thought, that would be a great lineup defensively. It would help us. It would balance us, and we'll have some scoring off the bench. And we even traded for James. I was like, at that point, even Tyrese, young kid, very humble, was like, why are we playing this together? He's like, why not I just come off the bench? I'm like, Tyrese, you're too good now. At this point, you've shown too much. You're averaging 20 a game since James has been here. How can they say, we got this kid, he's so good, we're just going to bring him off the bench? That makes no sense. I mean, you can, but at that point, I felt, and I'm sure the coaching staff felt, it was too late. He was like, I play well with James, but, it helps us with more scoring off the bench. We have no real bench coming off. It was me, Drummond, and, somebody else. We didn't have any scoring. And I'm like, I'm not the guy to help the scoring load in the bench, nor am I a point guard or facilitator. Drum, he needs another point guard facilitator. And I guess they've split time with Tyrese and James a little bit. But we didn't have a lot of bench scoring, and we struggled. And defensively, it was me. I think Matisse started, but me and Matisse coming off the bench most of the time. And we had just one main defender. And one guy on defense can't carry the whole load. Matisse, how good he was, he couldn't carry the whole defensive load by himself in the starting group. Neither could I myself. So I was like, it helps us both if we do it that way. But it is an interesting predicament Doc is in. And suggestion-wise, I really don't have many because it's hard with that lineup to say. It's just going to be hard to juggle all those guys because Shake can score the ball very well, so can Mel, but Mel can play defense. And, Tyrese and James, those are 4 point guards that can score the ball very well. And to juggle that is going to be, a tough – that's why they pay him the big bucks. And honestly, I really don't know what route to go. You can go any route, but I would say, I like to have the mix of them. I'm sure they would probably play 3 of them together. You have Tyrese, you have James, and, DeAnthony Melton probably with Tobias and Joel. And then they probably go like that. They have probably Shake and, what's the name coming off the bench? I'm trying to think who else they might have. Well, PJ. PJ. That's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. But they're going to probably – no. Well, they'll probably mix up the lines depending on who they play. Obviously, Joel and Tobias are a given. James is a given, and Tyrese. Those are 4 guys. That 5th one, if teams are smaller, they may go small with DeAnthony. They might keep PJ, but they'll have, Shake coming off the bench with Melt and probably give him a different type of look. But like I said, good thing I'm not a head coach. Good thing I'm still not there. That is a tough one to figure out. So they're on a 7-8 game winning streak right now. And you said that's when the problem comes in, when you have this much talent. It's a good problem to have, but this may be some of the issues they may have when they have everybody healthy. Just like Denver may have. And they just got Michael Porter Jr. back. Aaron Gordon's been balling. He's been hooping. Bones Highland's been hooping. So we'll see what both those groups do. Yeah, no, it's an interesting predicament. And it's when I'm not a GM, but that's why prioritizing 3-and-D players when you start to put a roster together makes your life so much easier because now you don't have to juggle personalities.
expectations,
egos.
egos. Hey, bro, this person can play. This person can score, and they can play defense. They're getting more minutes than you, or they're
The
starting.
great thing that he has is that with Tyrese, he's still a young player who is very humble and just wants to win, and he doesn't have an ego that I know of anymore yet. And he was very much okay with doing it last year, which told me a lot about him as a person. You know, it was like, you know, this kid is a superstar, but he's a great kid for him to be okay with, like, you know what, you know, why not just come off the bench? You have that may make it easier for Doc, but I don't know if Tyrese will tell them that, you know, but that'll make things easier for him. It helps the situation easier when you have certain guys that are okay and comfortable and humble enough and put the team first. There's not many of those guys out there in this league anymore, but we will see how, you know, it all unfolds when it comes to that.
For sure. I mean, you look at guys who are in his caliber, Jordan Poole, Tyler Hero, they still got their rookie max extension, even though they came off the bench. And obviously that's, you know, I know everybody cares about, you know, winning, but I'm not going to be upset.
Well, Tyler Hero starting. I think Tyler Hero wanted this, so he made it said, yo, I'm signed back, but I want to start. I think Jordan Poole too, but I don't know. It said all Golden State. But I think Tyrese knows he can still get paid doing what he does. It's all said as an ego thing, and a lot of those young kids are okay with it. So there's not a lot of guys, especially that are older or more stuck in their ways, or that are superstars, all-stars, that are okay with coming off the bench. But that's the one thing that Philly and Doc has good going for them is Tyrese Maxey and his attitude toward the game.